Let's take a look now at running a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so this is a presentation we created in a previous video. You can also download it. Click on the Show More link below this video to access the file. This view that we're in right now is normal view, and it's where we work to create and edit the presentation, but often we create the presentation to share with an audience, and that's done in a different view called slideshow or running the presentation. And one way you can get into slideshow view is over on the slideshow tab, and you can get in there by clicking from beginning or from a particular slide. There is a keyboard shortcut that I'd like to use. It's the F5 function key. So as I hover over this, that little tooltip will remind me that I can use the F5 function key to also execute that particular command. But I'm here now. I'll give that a click. So now what we're looking at is one slide at a time, right? None of the tools that we use in normal view to build the presentation, just the slide itself. Now to advance, there's a couple different ways we can move on from slide number 1, and we can, for example, click the mouse. So I'm just going to click the left mouse once, and that will take me to the second slide. Again, that's the third slide. You can also press the Enter key on the keyboard, and you're also going to be able to roll the scroll wheel on the mouse, right? In either direction. You can push it away from you to move forward, or you can roll the wheel on the mouse to move backwards in the presentation as well. So you'll be able to move in either direction there until ultimately you are, after viewing all the slides, out of that. I'm going to press the F5 function key, get back in there, and again, just remember, use the scroll wheel on the mouse till you've gone through all of those slides. You can also, at any point, press the escape key on the keyboard to exit the slideshow, taking you back into normal view. And in addition to advancing through the slides one at a time, you can also move to a specific slide. So let me get back into slideshow view. So slideshow, I'm going to do it from the current slide, this slide number 5, individual tracks there. So from current slide, once again, this is slide number 5. If during the presentation someone says, hey, can you go back to slide number 1, slide number 2, or you just want to move to a specific slide, you can just, although there's no place really that looks like it will accept this, you're going to type in the slide number on the keyboard that you would like to move to and press the Enter key. So I'm going to type in the number 1 and I'm going to press Enter, and it will take me to that particular slide. Again, if I want to go back to slide number 5, I type in the 5, I press the Enter key, and I'm back where I was to begin with. So remember that you don't have to move slide by slide. You can jump to a specific slide very quickly and very easily just by typing in the slide number and pressing your Enter key. Another way to interact, in fact, let me go back to slide number 1. Another way to interact with your slideshow is obviously, you can point to specific things on your slideshow as you are presenting to your audience. Your mouse pointer will by default appear as an arrow, but that's small, and maybe you want to do something that has a little bit more emphasis. So if you want, you can change your mouse to a pen, and the way that you're able to do that is by holding down the Control key and typing in the letter P for pen. Now my mouse pointer is actually a pen, so I can click and drag, I can circle, I can underline, I can cross things off, and ultimately just sort of interact with the content of the slide. If you want to erase that scribble, you just type in the letter E. And if you want to switch back to an arrow, it's Control A. So I'm going to go to the next slide. And again, the purpose of this is maybe to interact with the slide a little bit. And one of the things, like we said, you can do is Control P to turn on your pen. You can click and drag to draw. You can, cross things off. You can underline them, just bring emphasis, just sort of take a note on the slide, if you will. The letter E will erase that, and Control A will give you back your arrow, okay? While we're on the topic of changing the cursors, you can actually change your mouse pointer here from an arrow to a laser pointer sort of, and all you need to do that, you don't need any special equipment, you just need to hold down the Control key And then as you slide your click and drag over some content, your mouse pointer now is a little bit of a laser pointer. So you don't have to worry about an extra device. You don't have to worry about batteries, etc. You can just control and click and drag to highlight different areas there of your presentation. And you can just let go of the control key, let go of the mouse, and that laser pointer simulator will disappear. If you want to pause the presentation for a minute, maybe to answer a question or to go off topic, whatever the case may be, there's two different ways you can do that. You can do that with a white screen or a black screen. So as you're giving your presentation, just on the keyboard type in the letter W and your screen will go white. And you can type in any key to get it back, but if your finger is still on that W, just type in the W again, and it will switch back to viewing the presentation. One more time, if you prefer a black screen, just type in the letter B, and the screen will go black. Type in the letter B, and it will return. Okay, so just a couple of things that you can do there. And once again, if you want to exit the running of the presentation, just press the escape key and you will be back in normal view. You can add a little more interest or energy to the presentation using transitions, which control how the slide appears on the screen. So let me go back to the first slide here. I'm in normal view and I'm just clicking the first slide. Over on the transition tab, there are transitions that I can select from. I can go ahead and pull that second little drop down to be able to view the entire gallery. So maybe there's something in here like blinds. I'm just going to give that a click and it will show you what that will look like. So a little bit of an animated effect to get that slide onto the screen. And again, if you just click something else from the gallery, it sort of shows you what it's going to look like, right? So I'm just trying a couple out here. And yep. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna head back to the blinds for a second. And depending on the transition that you select, there could be effect options. So this is going to be sort of by default a little bit of a vertical blind sort of animated effect. If I go into effect options, there, depending on which transition I chose, there may be multiple choices here to control that a little bit, more granularly. So I'm going to go ahead and choose horizontal. And not every transition is going to have effect options, but it's something you can take a look at, right? So the way that that slide will make its way onto the screen is using a transition called blinds. Then you can go on to the next slide and pick maybe a little bit of a different transition, different options. So it's just a matter of what effect you might want to use. And you can do that one slide at a time. Or if you want to use the same sort of transition throughout the presentation, you can pick it. And then there is a button here on the transition tab called apply to all. I'm not going to pick that. I'm just letting you know that you can go ahead and do that, and it will apply it to all 7 slides in your presentation. So let's look at the overall effect then. I did animate the first few slides. So going back to the first slide on the slideshow tab, I'm going to go ahead and click from beginning, and there's that blind effect. As I click to advance to the next, there is that separate animation or transition effect, honeycomb, and then glitter. Okay, so I'm going to press the escape key to get out of there. And just remember again, you select the slide, and on the transition tab, you can select the transition that you want to use. Now, different versions, releases of PowerPoint will have different transition options, but the way that you apply it will pretty much be as what we just explained. If you prefer to have the presentation progress on its own without you having to click to advance or scroll the wheel on the mouse, you can add automatic timing. So you'll select the slide on the transition tab. There is this box here, it's called after, and this is to advance the slide automatically after a certain amount of time. So these are seconds. As you're using that up arrow, you'll be able to advance or select the number of seconds you would like to use. So this would be 3 seconds. And you can apply that to all, or you can go on to the next slide and select again after and pick how many seconds you would like that to be on the screen. So that would be on, for example, for 5 seconds. So what that means then is if you are running the show, I'm going to go over to the slideshow tab and I'm going to say from beginning. The first 2 slides will advance automatically because I added that automatic timing. So I'm just going to click on from beginning and just wait a couple of seconds to see all of that happen. I'm not clicking or advancing it manually. There's the 3 seconds. This one will stay on the screen for 5 seconds before it moves on to slide number 3. I'm going to go ahead and press the escape key. I only added transition or automatic timing to the first 2 slides. So again, it is on the transition tab. You'll have to check the box because it's not checked by default called after, and select some amount of time there. In this case, 3 seconds, and over here on this second slide, we did 5 seconds. So that would give you the ability to advance automatically through the presentation. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching and hope to see you again soon.